Dustin Poirier has a UFC fight lined up against Benoit Saint Denis, and a lot of people are writing off Dustin Poirier. This happens all the time after a fighter loses. A lot of people just pretend after a fighter takes a loss, they're just not good anymore. And they think that because it's a prospect that the veteran is going up against, they think that the veteran typically does not have a shot, especially if the veteran's coming off of a loss. I know Dustin Poirier has taken quite a bit of damage over his career, but I'm going to be honest, man, skills pay the bills. And yes, MMA does have that random wild card factor where a knockout or a submission or anything can happen just out of the blue. That's the beauty of the sport, and that's why me and you watch. A lot of the times when a veteran loses to this prospect, it is mainly due to the fact, well, due to a couple reasons actually. It's mainly because the veteran has either lost a step and he's not competing at the same level that he once was, or he simply can't do things like take a punch anymore. And I know that Dustin Poirier fans are agreeing with me when I say this. Just because the guy came off of a loss, his first knockout loss in years, doesn't mean that the guy is just over the hill. I get it. Dustin Poirier has taken a lot of damage, but let's be honest here. His chin has not shown to be that big of an issue ever since he moved up in weight. It is clear at 145, Dustin Poirier had a serious chin issue. He got knocked out all the time. At least in every single one of his losses, or in every single one of his fights, he got rocked. Now, a lot of people have still carried that stigma with Dustin Poirier ever since he moved up to 155. It's like people are still accusing him of not having a chin, when that's simply not the case. He got knocked out by Michael Johnson, and then he took big shots off of Justin Gaethje, took big shots off of Michael Chandler, took big shots off of Conor McGregor, took big shots off of a lot of big punchers at 155, Charles Oliveira. And he got knocked out by a beautiful head kick that was perfectly well set up that Dustin Poirier didn't see, and that partially landed to the back of the head. That finally put him out. And yes, it was a bad knockout. But to say that he's over the hill because that happens, you guys must not understand that these type of things happen in fighting. These things are going to happen. Doesn't mean that you can't recover from it. And based off of the evidence that we have off Dustin Poirier, he still is fighting to the level that he once was before the knockout loss. That being said, let me break down the fight actually. Benoit Saint Denis is a great fighter. Based off of my breakdown of him, his striking technique is very predictable, meaning that he tends to spam one thing over and over and over again. And that's the damn left kick to the body. That dude throws that over and over and over again. That being said, his biggest weapon is his grappling. I mean, the guy is a submission artist. He's a BJJ artist, in my opinion. And Dustin Poirier, man, doesn't have that good a takedown defense. And that's the biggest chink in Poirier's armor, in my opinion. It's not his chin, like a lot of people think. It's actually the fact that this man cannot defend a takedown, bro. And I know he's been facing some of the best grapplers, but dude, I don't think he stuffed a single takedown against Khabib. I really don't. It was just, and I know that it's Khabib, but man, if Conor could do it, Dustin Poirier couldn't do it. And Conor McGregor has better takedown defense than Dustin Poirier. Yes, I said it. That being said, that's going to be his biggest issue in this fight. But I hear that they're making this fight 5 rounds. Actually, Dana White said that this fight is going to be 5 rounds. Well, that makes this a whole lot more interesting. Because if this was a 3-round fight, then I would think Benoit Saint Denis' chances would be a lot higher. His chances still are very high in this fight. But I think that the 5 rounds is going to favor Dustin Poirier clearly. Why? Because Dustin Poirier is clearly the more experienced fighter up to this point, and in my opinion, he's the more skilled fighter. Saint Denis has him out-maneuvered in one area. When I say maneuvered, really like outranked in one area. And that is the grappling. He's the much better grappler. He's the much better takedown artist, or the much better wrestler, rather. He's a much better BJJ artist, and he's got impressive submissions, and he can definitely submit Dustin Poirier. He also has power in his hands, and that is something that I'm not overlooking, but Dustin Poirier has proven that he has a chin, and plus with the very predictable striking techniques of Saint Denis, I don't think that Poirier will be in that much danger. Yes, he's going to be in danger. Please don't come for me like you guys are already coming for me in my Alexander Volkanovski video. But what I'm saying is that, dude, this guy isn't this like elite Jalen Turner, Dan Hooker level striker where he can just put you out with just the most accurate punch. No, that's not the case, man. It's not the case. His striking is actually not great, if you ask me. It's not great. Dustin Poirier is the much better striker. And I think as the fight goes on, Dustin Poirier has a high chance of figuring out Benoit Saint Denis and start beating him up in the third and fourth rounds because he's just that predictable. Once the takedowns stop working, they will work early, but Dustin Poirier is that kind of fighter, man. He figures you out as the fight goes on, and he finds sneaky ways to beat you. That is what has made Dustin Poirier's career so great, is the fact that he has very high fight IQ. And it's like this guy, if one game plan isn't working in a fight, he switches to another game plan, and he switches to another game plan until it eventually works and he beats you. Not to mention that Poirier can also knock out Saint Denis. He can also finish Saint Denis. Saint Denis also has this really bad habit of just chucking things in the air, throwing everything at you but your kitchen sink when it comes to submissions, man. He tries everything to try and get you out of there. I can see a scenario where Dustin Poirier reverses position, gains top control, and either smashes out Saint Denis or submits him himself. You can't count Poirier out in this. You can't. In my opinion, to this point, based on the evidence we have, he's the much better fighter. That being said, I want to know what you guys think is being more trippy, and I'm out, man.